What is the secret to unlocking your full potential? What makes your idols any different than you? How do you become the person you've always wanted to be in life? This is where you get all of your questions answered. My name is Justin Shank, and I sit down with some of the most epic individuals who are changing the world with their actions in business and in life. We discuss how they did it, why they pushed themselves, and more importantly, how they were able to focus on continuous growth to achieve their dreams. Welcome to the Growth Now movement. This week, I sit down with my friend, Radow. Jem combines her brand strategy savvy with her consciousness expertise to create unique programs for success. Or as I like to say, she brings woo-woo into the boardroom. I think you guys are going to really love this episode with her, just her touching points and how to really know who you are and how do you define your purpose and how do you truly live life fully. Jem has figured that out, and now she's helping women all over the world connect with themselves. And these are women that have massive businesses and also just your next door neighbor. I really love her tactics and her advice. I think you guys are going to absolutely connect with and adore Jem by the end of this episode. She helps people through private coaching, keynote speaking, corporate consulting, and retreats. She actually has a retreat coming up. So if you are a woman who's ready to tap into that, make sure you check that out on her website, which is linked up in the bio here. I think you guys are going to, again, love this episode. I can't wait for you to hear it. But before we get there, just a reminder, do not forget to grab your tickets for Growth Now Movement Live. The website is gnmlive.com. Join me, Albie Manzo, Fabio Viviani, and all of my amazing friends like Sarah Centrella to help transform your life and take it to the next level. Now, without further ado, I give to you my dear friend, Radow. Jem, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I am very excited to be here, Justin.
All I have to say is it's about damn time we actually have this interview. Because we were discussing before I hit record how this interview was supposed to happen over a year ago. Because we met at the New Media Summit back 2 Septembers ago. You were a guest to Steve's, and I was one of the icons of influence. And I'm like, yeah, let's have this conversation. And a lot of what you're aligned with is something that I'm internally aligned with. And I think it's so funny because people don't realize this about me because I don't put it out so much, but I'm kind of woo-woo. I'm woo-woo in a sense, but I don't really talk about it. And so I really enjoy these types of conversations. I like bringing them onto my podcast because people in my audience love this conversation. But why don't you take a couple minutes and just talk about who Jem is today, and we can talk about how you got there.
So I love that we're just hitting the ground running with the woo-woo, because that's something I like to usually finesse my way into. But
oh no, we're going hard.
Let's just do it. And also, good things come to those who wait. So this is going to be worth our patience.
Love that.
So little bit about me. My name is Jem, which means I love. I was a Valentine's baby. And for many years went by Jamie, which is not my name, and reclaimed that name, my real name, 5 years ago. And so much of the work that I do with people is really helping them align with their true selves. And identity is such a part of that, right? We have this idea about who we are in our mind. And it might not be fully aligned with who we really are inside. So the work that I do with people is helping them really get out of their heads, get into their bodies, get really connected and grounded with who they are, and then really make clear decisions about what is it they want to create in their lives, what do they want to shift in their lives based from that place. And then that really cultivates confidence. You know, when we're connected and we're clear and we take action from that place, we're really confident, and helping people also navigate through limiting beliefs that pop up.
Yeah.
So that's really what I help people do, is express the most powerful version of themselves by really becoming aligned with and connected with who they really are.
Yeah. And, when we use that kind of terminology and grounded and connected with who we are and et cetera, people go, who the hell is this hippie? But the about this conversation is that you came from such a corporate background. Like, you've done these types of things in a corporate world without using the woo-woo terminology. So what happened 5 years ago when Jamie became Jem and going from the corporate world into what you're doing now?
Sure. So the funny thing is, I joke around that I'm fluent in business and I'm fluent in woo-woo. And I've been on I guess we'll call it a consciousness journey. So really learning about self and exploring personal development and studying cultural anthropology and religion and many different things over the past 2.5 decades. And I was fortunate enough to be able to have a career as a trend forecaster and a futurist. And I advised Fortune 500 companies in new product innovation and branding and strategy, and really addressing what's going to be happening in 3 years and 5 years and 10 years, and how can we be relevant and even ahead of the curve. And that takes a certain level of intuition. We can be analytical as we want and really observe culture, but there really has to be an element of being tapped into what I like to call the divine intelligence. Einstein talked about it, Tesla talked about it. So really having that connection and then merging that with analytics, if you will, and trends and things, and creating from there. So I did that. And then just really it wasn't in alignment serving big corporations anymore. And so I started my business nearly a decade ago, and really was to help people figure out what their brilliance and their blind spots were, and helping them see a white space and either create a business or get hired within a company based on what's kind of their unique genius. Because that's what I had done in my 20s. And then that kind of evolved into being known as personal branding. It's our identity, and we express it 3 ways: to ourselves, to others, and to the world. So that's really, I kind of pivoted, if you will, but it all comes down to alignment and connection and really being clear and creating from that place, whether it's advising a big company or helping an individual create what they want in their life.
Yeah, I love that. And because I think there's so often, and I'm somebody who at times I struggle with this, but I think there's so many people who they don't really know. They might have a feeling they're supposed to go in one direction with their life, but they don't follow that path. Does that make sense? So they have a feeling, for the longest time, I felt like I had to help people discover what it was they wanted to do in their life and how do I help them get there, which is kind of what I'm doing with this podcast. But I fought it for the longest time because I would go, who am I? Right. But I had this feeling and it would get drawn that way, but then I'd easily just go back to the corporate world, work the job, make good money, et cetera. So how does somebody truly identify what they feel like their calling is, and then take those steps in order to, start to begin and make that their life and their day-to-day processes?
Well, you do beautiful work, and I really honor the work that you do. I want to say that first of all. And, it really starts with, so many of us make decisions from our mind. We're kind of socialized to be these heads with arms and legs, and we're walking around kind of like a Mr. Potato Head. And we are thinking about what we should be doing. We're shitting all over ourselves. And we're really coming from a place of fear and worry. And we're in the past and we're in the future. So the first step is to get grounded and to be present and to get connected with our body and to get connected with ourself. And that's something we talk about a lot. If anyone has read any sort of personal development book or gone to a yoga class, we hear these things all the time. The thing is, there's a disconnect, because we can understand an idea in our mind, but it doesn't mean we're actually experiencing it. It doesn't mean it's landed in our bodies on a cellular level. So that's the real difference. And that's where we're kind of moving. It's great that we are beginning to talk about more and have more of an awareness of these things. But the next step is to actually experience, what is it like actually being in my body? Feel your feet right now. Feel the ground beneath your feet right now. How often do we take a moment to really do that?
Yeah.
And then how often do we even take a moment to really feel into a decision? We just kind of weigh the pros and cons and think about it. So really developing, that's the first step to the rest of it.
Yeah, that's super interesting. You talk about how we have you talked about before how we have 3 identities, right? Like one's to ourselves, one's to the world, etc. Talk to me about that and how somebody is currently living maybe a fraudulent life. Maybe they're telling themselves one thing, but they're showing the world another. And then how do they begin to align all of that? Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it's absolutely. So when I used to focus on teaching personal branding and I went into companies and did consulting and workshops and whatnot, the way I defined a personal brand was it's your identity, it's your mission, and we communicate that 3 ways, right? So first we're having a conversation with ourselves about ourselves. That's like self-talk, whatnot. Then I'm talking to you about it, and then it's going out into the world, right, as a bigger conversation. And the thing is, if I'm telling you one story, and let's say the internet or my reputation is the same story, but I'm telling myself, there's no way you can pull this off, you're a fraud, it's not the real deal, it's not going to land when you communicate it out there. Because the thing is, we can feel it. So much of communication is nonverbal, right? So much of it is, we're all intuitive, whether we're calling it that or something else.
Yeah.
So it really starts, when I work with clients, it really starts with having that alignment and connection with ourselves. Because if we have that, then we get to practice communicating that to somebody else. And then kind of even a bigger picture. So it really starts with believing it ourselves, telling ourselves the truth. And here's the kicker. So many of us think we're telling ourselves the truth, think we're in alignment. We've convinced ourselves in our mind that we are, but we're actually living. There's a disconnect between our truth in our mind and our actual truth in our body. And that is the source of so much pain and so much discomfort and longing with so many people. They're trying to like crack this code, Justin, about what is the thing that's going to make me happy? What is the thing that'll fulfill me? What's the thing? And it's really like stems from this disconnect. So I help people kind of bridge the gap, if you will, to be able to have a flow in that communication between mind and body.
Yeah. Why is that so important? Like, what if I take somebody, right? And like, let's talk to maybe somebody that you've helped, strong businesswoman who's just killing it financially in her business. And, she thinks she's happy. Why is finding alignment and everything so important?
You just said it. Thinks she's happy. Thinking we are happy and being happy aren't 2 different things. Being, when you just are whatever you are, you're happy, you're sad, you're grateful, whatever it is, it's just, you just are. And then we think we're happy. It's kind of like, that's the thing I think I should be. So it's exactly that. So many people have checked these boxes in their lives, especially more linear thinking people. I went to this school, I did this career path, or, I'm in this relationship, whatever it is. And we do it, we accomplish it, we check it, and then we feel good maybe for a short amount of time. But the biggest question I get asked is, what's next? Or now what? Because we're constantly thinking that's the thing that's going to make me happy. And when we try to become happy based on our external circumstances, we never are. We just are happy when we get to that place within ourselves of connection and alignment. And then we can understand when something is off, when we're not happy, we get more clarity around why.
Yeah. I mean, I love the word happy, because I think it's something that we're all chasing, but we don't even know what it means. And when you talk about, you chase something, like something physical, whether it's money, a car, a house, a woman, a man, whatever, and you get it and you go, this is great, this is happy. But really, that's kind of joy in the moment, and it's something completely different. So what is your definition of happy?
Well, I'd like to even take one step backward around the word happy. And it's this goal that people want to be happy. Like being something else, being sad or being angry or being frustrated or challenged, like those are bad things. And really, I think being happy is being okay with where we are.
Yeah.
it's like if we're constantly upset with ourselves or judging ourselves for how we feel, the first step's really getting okay with we're exactly where we are in that very moment and to feel what we're feeling. Doesn't mean wallow in it or stay there forever, but emotions are just, they pass through us, they're expressions. And they can give us information about things being off. But happiness is just when I can be in the present moment and just be where I am and just be grateful and appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's so true. Like that is, somebody asked me before, like, what's some of the best advice you've ever gotten? And it was that somebody literally just said to me, it's okay that you're angry.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have every right to be angry as you do to be sad or happy or whatever, but we're told we shouldn't be those things. For whatever reason. And we use the word happy because that's the word that was given to us. That's what's in the dictionary. But I like to say when I'm stressed out, when I'm angry, when I'm sad, I'm still happy because that's just what I'm feeling at the moment. It's just a feeling. So I absolutely love that. So how did you begin this journey? Because you said you really started 10 years ago. This wasn't a thing 10 years ago. Like it's so talked about now. And there's these types of coaches now who are helping people break through these emotional stresses and et cetera, et cetera. But like, this wasn't a thing 10 years ago. Like, how did it even start for you?
So it's been even longer than 10 years, actually. When I was 14 years old, I was given my first book by my father, actually, on the subconscious mind. And started to really understand some of these concepts at a basic level. And I've just really been on a path, like I said, for quite some time. I studied cultural anthropology. I became a practicing Buddhist when I was 23. I just embraced a lot of different philosophies and studied yoga and became a yoga teacher and then studied the brain and just became certified in every possible thing under the sun. And just human beings and universal truths have always been the thing that just fascinated me. And I just learn and study and just it's what happens is we just start to see parallels in a lot of different teachings and a lot of different philosophies. We start to say, wait a minute, and we connect dots. And then what happens is we get to a point where it starts to become embodied. We start to actually, like I said, feel it and experience it. And we understand it in a way that's not just an idea or a theory. It becomes a truth.
Yeah, I love that. No, for sure. Like, and it's funny, as somebody in the self-development space, because of this podcast, people think that I have it all together. And it's just not the case. And part of this podcast and this thing that I'm doing is for me to learn, to grow, to continuously live in, have a better day every single day as we go along. And I think a lot of people are like that, but we hide so often behind whatever we've built, whether it's our business or whatever. What do you struggle with that is still something that you teach people?
Wow, so many things. I'm learning this human thing day by day, right? I'm going to say just being gentle with myself. I think, I talk so much about self-love and not judging ourselves and all these things, but I really feel like that's a practice that I practice every day. There's certain things I want to accomplish and a certain time frame I'd like to accomplish them in and certain way I'd like it to look. And I think a practice for me is being gentle with myself and kind to myself when things don't go exactly the way I want them to. And a thing I've been really, really working on is cultivating a sense of trust where I get clear on what it is I'm doing or trying to create and I'm taking action. And then having trust that maybe there's an idea or a possibility that's even better than the one that I have. And if things don't go exactly the way I want, maybe it's actually pivoting me or leading me to something that is for the greater good. So for me, trusting in that and being kind to myself when things don't go the way that they need to, instead of being really hard on myself. I'd say that's something that I consciously have to practice doing for sure.
No, for sure. And self-love is something that I struggle with. And it's a repeating theme on this show for a reason, right? So I'm trying to unlock this idea of like, how do I love myself more? So what is self-love to you? Because so many people have different definitions. So what is self-love to you? And, other than being mindful, what are you doing to practice that daily?
Self-love is meeting ourselves where we are. So every day is different, right? And showing up for ourselves, if we need a little extra patience with ourselves that day, we give ourselves a little more patience. If we maybe need to push ourselves and challenge ourselves a little more the next day because there's a real opportunity for growth and expansion, we show up for that. We have patience. We speak kindly to ourselves. Don't put ourselves down. Don't stay in relationships that aren't serving us. And just really get clear on our values and who we are and living in alignment with that and practicing kindness to ourselves. I think it's kind of a lot of things, but to me, it's a practice. It's not all bubble baths and roses and being happy every single day. It's meeting ourselves where we are every single day. It's going to be different. And that's part of being a human being.
Yeah. I don't like baths, so that wouldn't be part of the ritual.
It's not your jam? Okay.
Totally not my jam.
What's your jam? What's your happy self-love space, Justin?
That's a great question. I don't know if I have that answer. Like, I don't know if I have, like, for me, like, self-love is surrounding myself with people that I love. Like, it's not like a soul, I'm over by myself kind of thing, because I'm not an introvert, I'm an extrovert. So I like good energy from other people, and that's kind of what drives me. I've never thought about that, and that was actually a very quick answer, and I think that's the real answer. I think.
It's this thing, people always say bubble baths. And not everybody likes bubble baths. And it's like, how gonna take me away? I personally love bubble baths, but I mean, that's not the go-to thing every time.
Yeah.
It's a time and a place for a bubble bath,
When I have time or a place for a bubble bath. Like, my tub is not very large, so this would not be the place or the time. So, but anyway, so 5 years ago is when this became a full-time thing for you, correct? This journey, this career, I
started my business about 9 years ago.
About 9 years ago. Okay.
9 years ago. Yeah.
5 years ago, you became Jem again.
I reclaimed my name. Yes.
Yeah. Which I want to focus on that, because I have a terrible last name. It's not spelled how it's pronounced. It doesn't it just makes no sense. It's got extra letters in it. And it's something that, like, when I talk about myself, I never say my last name. I just say Justin. And you're somebody who thrust themselves into semi-spotlight of, speaking and going on podcasts, and you've made it difficult because it's spelled Jamie with an apostrophe after the J. So what was that? What was the reasoning behind that? Was there a business plan behind it, or you just felt like, I want to reclaim this?
It wasn't my idea. So, yes. And in English, it looks like Jamie with apostrophe. And in French, it means I love. And as I said, I was a Valentine's baby with eccentric parents. And the question was, I totally just lost my train.
Oh, so what was the reasoning? I thought it was somebody else's, idea or whatever.
Thank you. Thank you for reminding me. Okay. So essentially what happened was, I had a teacher, a spiritual teacher, and she asked one day, she said, we were at a retreat, and she said, why don't you go by your real name? And I said, I don't know. I just don't. And she was calling me out on some pretty big things and really calling me into my highest self. And she said, well, I'm going to start calling you by your real name. And so she just started calling me that. And then everyone at that retreat, maybe 20 people, all started calling me that. And then within that circle and that community, everybody started calling me that. And so there was this big part of my life where everybody was calling me Jem. So it felt really good. It felt really good. I kind of would bite on the words of my name before. But let me tell you, at that stage of life, it was very challenging. And there were a lot of times where I just didn't want to even continue, because it's not an easy thing to do. But this is the thing. I was in alignment with it. It's who I really am. And so over time, people that had called me one thing started to call me my real name because it was in alignment with who I really am.
Yeah.
It wasn't just a silly thing. So it's been very interesting, and it's been a real challenging opportunity for growth for me, just having a name that's not even a name, it's a phrase in another language, and how people respond to that when I say it really says a lot about that individual. Are they patient? Do they forget? Do they not want to bother? It's so fascinating to me when I share my name, the response that I get from other people. So it's been an interesting journey.
You know, and it's funny because like that's probably the third time I've tried to get an answer out of you about your name. And this is the first time I got the answer during this conversation alone. And people are probably listening going, why does Justin care so much about the name? But here's why. Because what you said when you were describing the name change, and that is it was in alignment, but it wasn't the easiest thing for you to do. And so I think sometimes people think, oh, it's alignment, it's easy. And that's totally not true. A lot of times it's the hard thing. Like you said, it's the leaving of a relationship that's not serving you. It's doing something that confuses people like Justin, who doesn't understand that somebody can be called a gem. And it does all of these things, right? And so for me, the question would be like, how does somebody accept the difficulty of doing the thing that isn't easy because it's what they're called to do or what they're in line to do?
Because it begins to feel more painful to do the thing that isn't in alignment. It became uncomfortable to tell people my name was Jamie because it wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't the truth. And what happens is when we start to move towards alignment in certain areas of our life, we feel how that feels. And it feels really good. It feels good to be the truth and to tell the truth. And then in the areas of our life where we're not in alignment, it starts to feel incredibly uncomfortable.
I love that. I love all that stuff for sure. So what are you doing now to help? Like who is the ultimate person that you are helping right now? And what are you doing to get them to that process?
Sure.
Coaching? Is it through events? Like what are you doing?
I offer one-on-one coaching. I work with individuals. I created a process. They're doing this for 10 years. I've really distilled this process down. I call it the Queen Being, BEING process, to 4 steps. And it's exactly what we've been talking about this whole time. And that first step is connection, getting you in your body, getting you grounded, connected to your truth in that alignment space. The second is clarity and on what is it you want to create in any area of your life. And we're creating in our work, in our relationships, in our health, in our expression, everything. And confidence. So when we are connected to our truth and we are creating from that place, we are confident and helping people navigate through limiting beliefs that come up that want to convince us otherwise, that want to convince us to stop, and to help people know the difference between this is in alignment, but these limiting beliefs are old processes, old patterns, old programming that are keeping me here, and it's not in alignment and I need to pivot. So helping people navigate from that. And then the fourth piece of it is community. So I do work with individuals one-on-one, like I said, with that first process and really helping most of the people that I work with. I've worked with executives, entrepreneurs. I've worked with gold medal Olympians, college students. I mean, like across the board, a lot of people over the years. And I've really been focusing on women over the past year and a half. And I so enjoy working with women that have begun their personal development journey. They've been reading the books. Maybe they've done some yoga. They've gone to a retreat.
Listen to the Growth Now Movement podcast.
Exactly. Yes. Absolutely. So they know something's off and they know there's more, and they know maybe there's a piece of them that's afraid to ask for what they want. Maybe they're clear, maybe they're not clear, but I help women ask for what they want and get it. I help them get clear on what they want, ask for what they want and get it. So I'm actually also focusing this year on creating community. So doing different events And the first one is called the Epic 2019 Retreat. And I am so excited about this, Justin. So excited about this. Can I share a little bit about it?
Of course, yeah.
Okay. So I am based in Encinitas, California, which is North County, San Diego. And Encinitas is a bit of a hotbed for consciousness, personal development, spirituality. It is a really, really special place of a lot of very incredible souls that live here. And I moved here a year and a half ago, and it was just such a game changer for my life. I've never experienced community like I've experienced here, and it's just a really healing, incredible, magical place. So I'm holding a retreat. It is the third week of January, the 24th to 27th, for 10 ladies to stay at a oceanfront estate, have literally everything taken care of for them, fed nutritious, delicious, beautiful food with this incredible view, and 9 other women that are also just really heart-centered, dynamic, fun, cool. And we are all going to create the most epic year of our lives. The process starts. I'm inviting people now to reach out to me. We can have a conversation, see if it's a fit, make the commitment, go enjoy the holidays. The first week of the year, we have a group coaching call the first week, another one the second week, the third week we go on the retreat. And we get to do all the things that I said and just create that epic year and have fun. And just after what I've had the privilege of enjoying here, I want to be able to create that experience for other people to get to have it.
For sure. And so, it's funny, you're planning this smaller retreat. It's a couple of days. I'm planning this big event, but it's really about community, and it's about the connection and how, we live in this world of social media. We can get any information we want. We can have any course we want, whether we pay $10, $1,000, or get it for free on YouTube, right? It's all the information's out there. I think the real importance is community and that continued access to the people that you build these relationships with at events like yours, where these people are in a similar place in their life and they can then help each other. Like when I look at myself, I've been to events that I was low and I connected with the right people and they helped raise me up. And I went to the next event and connected with the right people and it helped raise me up. And there's really marking points in my life of different events that I've attended, the right ones with the right people, big, small, or middle size, it doesn't matter, that have all helped me in some way, shape, or form. And I think that people don't quite get that. And so I just wanted to kind of take a second and talk about that, because community is the most important thing. When you connect and build those real relationships, that's when your life goes to the next level. That's when you tap into your queen being. And that's when you do all these things, right? So just a shout out to you. I mean, I've seen some of your work and I've, followed along for over a year now. And it's real. And I think the cool part about you is, yes, you have the woo-woo, but you also have the business mindset of saying like, look, I understand that we're not always in a woo-woo world. So it's like a great partnership of the two as they come together for what you're creating. And I love that. So just a shout out to you. So definitely, where do they go to get tickets or reach out to you and chat?
They can go to my website, and there's a link specifically for retreats. My website is JAIMERADOW.com. And if you click on the retreats, the first page is a retreats link button, and everything is right there. A click on the apply now button, and we can hop on a call and see if it's a good fit. And I'd just love to be of service to your listeners.
Yeah. And the one thing I'll say, look, like when there's an opportunity like this to be a part of something small where it's not for everybody, swing and try and get it, because look, it's going to be worth every single second. I guarantee it. So we'll link all that stuff up in the show notes. No big deal with that one. I ask every single person this question because I'm intrigued by what people think is success. So my question for you is, what's your definition of success for yourself? And what are 3 things you do every single day to ensure that success?
Success is waking up each day with passion and purpose, by having meaning to your life and to your day.
I love that. So what are 3 things you're doing every day to make sure that when you wake up every single day for the rest of your life, that's how you're living?
First of all, I have practices that I do in the morning. You can call them meditation. You can call them practices that get me in my body. Like I said at the beginning, that get me actually out of my head and into my body. Just really throughout the day, checking in with myself and feeling if things feel aligned. Where am I making a decision from? Am I making it from fear? Am I making it from worry? Am I attached to an outcome? Like, where is that decision really coming from? And being honest with myself, having real talk with myself.
Yeah, love that.
There's a third. I mean, I haven't really mentioned this so far, and it's really important, is like you said about community. Having part of having passion and purpose for me is those relationships in my life that I'm so blessed to have that light me up. Those people that are mirrors, those people that inspire me. And I think it's just really touching base and staying connected to those people in my life, being there for them, and just really telling them the truth, letting them know where I'm really at. And just, I think those are the 3, to really cultivate that passion and that purpose is just really the connection and that touching base with self and alignment, and then really connecting with those around me that I look to as reflections and mirrors and love and support, and offering that in return.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that, by the way. So now I'm going to get into the 5 rapid fire questions. Some are fun, some are serious, but I ask you this, answer within 1 word or at the most 1 sentence. Are you ready?
Yes.
First one is, what's your favorite smell?
Vanilla.
That's fair. I get vanilla a lot. People say either like vanilla or like.
This is the first that came to mind. I also love cinnamon, like cinnamon candles.
Yeah, cinnamon's good too. This is a 2-parter. What's your favorite and your least favorite word?
I think my favorite word is love.
What about your least favorite?
It's a tough one. I didn't prepare well for this. I apologize.
Don't say moist.
That's the one that came to me, but that's too obvious. I don't like to. This isn't my least favorite word, but what it means. I don't like cliches.
Interesting.
I'm not a fan of cliches.
It's a fancy word though, so it's hard to hate, but I understand.
No, I don't hate the word. I hate what it means. Give me just one moment. I'm going to come up with something better. Let me just tap in. I don't have a least favorite word.
It's interesting. Okay. There's no reason. I might
later, and now I'm going to think
like
about
there's
it.
something wrong with you because you don't have a least favorite word, because it's like interesting.
Honestly, I just can't think of it. That's really reason. What it is. I'll take over.
If you could have dinner with anybody, living or dead, who would it be?
Albert Einstein. That's the first thing that came to my mind.
I love that. At the end of your life, if you could only be remembered for 1 sentence, what would it be?
Be here now.
I love it. And obviously this podcast is called The Growth Now Movement. So I wrap up every single episode with this question. And that is, in your life, what has been your biggest moment of growth?
Being on this podcast. Biggest moment of growth? Like a split second moment?
It could be. It could be a collection of time. It could be whatever.
Does it have to be 1 word, or can I have
like no, you can have it.
Okay. I hope you can edit this part. I'm rambling. I've navigated some serious health challenges in my life since the time I was quite young. Within those health challenges, it's taught me compassion, humility, and that even when things seem like they can't get better, they somehow can. So I think having challenges from the time you're young, I think it's a certain type of compassion and strength that you cultivate as a result of that.
Yeah. For
and
sure.
you really appreciate your physical health and things like that in a pretty profound way. So I'm going to say just navigating my physical health journey at certain points in time.
Awesome. I love that. Jem, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your wisdom and your love with my audience. Guys, make sure you go check her out. I'm really excited to see where you go with these retreats. And you know, like I said, I've been following along for a year, so I'll give you another year.
Thank you so much. You're the best. And I am excited to follow you along for another year and see where you are going to be, because you are creating amazing events and your work in the world is really important.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much for being a part of the Growth Now movement. This is how you can really help me out. If you guys enjoyed this episode, please share it out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that fun stuff. And let's grow this movement to epic heights. And it's all going to be because of you guys. Thank you so much. And we'll see you next week.